What do you read, Mark?
Absolute Wonder Woman. It made me think, how do one-armed people clap?
I guess, yeah. Did Did you see? Did you hear about the fish that she caught?
What about it?
It was this big.
I give that a 5 out of 10.
Exactly. We'll get into all of that and why we're so silly right after this. And we are back. Before we get any further, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll alert whenever we upload new content. Leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing, and hit that little thumbs up there, the like button. It helps with the algorithm gods in YouTube. So we are now 3 issues into Absolute Wonder Woman, 3 in Batman and 2 into Superman. But we are 3 issues in, and this just keeps getting better and better as far as I'm concerned.
This is the single best issue of absolute anything that's dropped.
Yes, exactly.
I think so, at least. Like,
Yes,
hands
yes.
down, the best.
I didn't think going into it, but so far, Absolute Wonder Woman is my favorite of the 3.
Yeah, I literally thought my pecking order would be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and my pecking order is Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman.
Right. And the thing that gets to me is, as I was thinking about it, is, and we'll talk about this more, but it 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 gives an epic, and it gives a mythic sense to it without her like acting mythic and epic above other people.
It does
If that
that
makes any
that
sense.
that sense of epicness that you mentioned. It feels very cinematic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels very cinematic. You get like the beats where you feel like the buildups are happening. You get like the soft moments, but you feel the lingering danger happening, and you're waiting to look at the next panel with this. You're wondering when the shoe's going to fall or the
Yeah,
arm.
and I mean, people say all the time I give my right arm to whatever to do something, whatever, but she actually
But
doesn't.
would you? Would you
Yeah, exactly.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Um,
really the scope of this, the stakes feel real in it. It feels very personal while feel very vast at the same time. This is an incredible book.
it really is. Yeah. Um,
It's
both
crazy
of,
to think we have two Wonder Woman ongoing titles going on that are both easily top 10 list books, easily debated in top 10 list books.
if you watched that Weekends last night, you know exactly where I put both of them. So, um,
Oh, well, look at there. Look at
yeah,
there. We haven't recorded that stream yet.
exactly.
That's an Easter egg for me.
There you go. Actually, at year ends, I should have said, not at week's ends, but
Oh, yeah, that one too.
yeah. But we start this we start this with Barbara Minerva, who is, for those of you who don't know, Barbara Minerva is the Cheetah
In the regular
in the
universe.
regular universe. Here, she is a professor who specializes in Amazons.
No.
So,
Yeah, we have a bunch of people who are at the museum watching the events unfold on a television, wondering where Barbara is, just because it obviously looks like something she might know a little bit about since she studied Amazons, and there appears to be one in the sky on television in front of this giant beast that has come out of the ocean. So everyone's a little bit scared.
the tetracide. Yeah, exactly.
Petrified. Yeah,
And
that's
she
what I put in my
basically,
front yard to keep the ants away.
yeah, exactly. And her message to everyone is, you need to run. And then it's like they say something, and she's like, "No, you need to run." Then they say something else. She's like, "No, you need to run."
I don't know how much more serious I can be about this situation. Please listen.
Yeah, exactly.
It kills you 4 different ways, by fear, by soul, by body, and all that stuff. Like, that doesn't sound so bad. Let me explain it to you. And she goes on to explain just what it means to die by fear and to die by mind and death by body and finally death by soul, and breaks down just really how terrified you should be of this thing if you happen to be a victim. It's not a clean death. The only
Yeah,
clean death will be the people that are trampled in the mass hysteria.
right. Because I mean, they're like, to your point. They say, how can the death of fear be a bad thing? And she's like, no, that's how it lures you in because you're not afraid of it anymore, and then that's when it has you. So,
And it kills your fear, and then it emits a sound that will draw you to it like moths to a flame. where it'll then scoop you up and consume you in the terriblest way possible. And lastly, your soul will have its own separate death. And that's
Right.
the description of the danger that they face with this tetracide.
Right. So she goes right up to it, and she basically says exactly what she said to the harbinger before, and that is, "Look, I don't want to hurt you, but if you keep going, I'm gonna battle you to the death." Basically,
Leave now and never return, or die hard and painful by my hand.
right. And it makes up its decision, and so she throws around her huge blade.
Yeah, she throws the lasso on the handle of it and throws it into the tetracide and proceeds to fly circles around it, attempting to wrap it up, only for it to pull the blade out, throw it in the ocean, and then she pulls a new trick out of her bag.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, it grabs her by the arm, but as soon as it does that, we flash back to when Steve Trevor was on the island, and she basically she finds a spell that will allow him to go back to man's world or whatever, to man's world. Only part of it requires a sacrifice.
A legitimate sacrifice.
A legitimate sacrifice, which her mother doesn't want her to do.
Stressing to Diana, do you truly understand the spell? I do. Well, maybe you didn't read all of it. I did. Well, then you missed something. I didn't. How about the context? I got it.
Yeah.
You can't do this. I need to.
Right, exactly. And so basically the sacrifice that she makes is she cuts off her right arm and sacrifices it so that Steve can then return back to his people, to his world.
Yeah, and as she says this spell in front of the fire with Cersei by her side, they're saying the spell, and Steve kind of fades away and fades onto the beach back at his world. So now we know how he returned proper from the dead.
Right.
With a warrior sacrifice.
Right. Quickly, we flash back to Diana fighting the
tetracide.
The tetracide, and as soon as we do, it pulls off her right arm.
Yeah, it's holding her by the right arm where we left her. Come back to that, and you see her say a spell. She utters a spell. You see some magic around her arm, and then she falls where the nub of her right arm is. And that's where we got to pause. You have to go back, and you have to look at the page where it grabbed her. You also have to look at the cover of any of these, and you see she has these phenomenal tattoos. That's been part of the thing. What's with the giant sword? What's with the tattoos? What's with the magic bag? Some of these are the key aspects that are different with the absolute Wonder Woman from the standard one. And now we know and we learn right off the bat that tattooed arm is not her arm. Her arm is gone. This is an arm that's manifested via a very powerful spell so that she doesn't have to be a one-armed warrior. But it takes a lot of effort to do that complicated magic. So we might be dealing with a one-armed Diana for a little while.
Yeah. Although she quickly makes some sort of a C-3PO arm.
Yeah, she pulls it out of her bag. Again, we have this magical bag that space and time don't seem to necessarily be affected by it. She has this the same small sack where she keeps her giant sword, the axe that she pulled out that she was battling the tetracide, and it's where she pulls this prosthetic placeholder arm that she has. She clips it on real fast, and she's already rubbing Steve Trevor's face with it. I would have been like, ew, if that was me.
Right, and just before Steve basically disappears from the island, he says a couple things that really kind of got to me. He talks about her capacity for love, her capacity for pain, her capacity for sacrifice. He talks about all the different things that make Wonder Woman who she is. And again, she does all of these not holding them over anybody else. It's just who she is.
And she also does them in spite of her surroundings, in spite of everything she knows.
Right.
When they were fighting a Hydra for a moment on the beach, and she's trying to talk with it to get it to chill out and stop fighting because she doesn't want to hurt it. These are hell beasts. These are demons. These are creatures. And he asks her, how do you talk to them? She goes, I just talk to them. And they talk about how she's somehow able to overcome her situation of location and still set up a loving home with her and Cersei.
Right. And she goes on. One of the things she says to Cersei is, how could I be who I am and not sacrifice myself to allow this person to return to who he loves, basically.
The essence is all there as we go further and further. More things aesthetically changed, but 100% of the essence is there. And that's what's one of the key factors of taking this absolute and putting it above the other two as of right now. Next week will be Superman 3. We'll see what happens. But right now, this is just, I don't know, pound for pound, just impressing me every issue, like legitimately impressive.
Right. So she now is working again. She's still working with the army, basically. And she basically is telling everybody, look, you need to run. And then finally it gets to the point where, okay, you know what? You guys, whoever's left, it's too late to run.
Yeah, just hunker down and hope you can't get out a door.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where Barbara Minerva comes in and says, introduces herself, says, tells her, I know you're on Amazon. Diana's like, how do you know that? She's like, I'm an expert on Amazon's.
Calls her Wonder Woman.
Calls her Wonder Woman, right?
What does that mean? That's the greatest warriors of Themyscira. That would be, or the Amazon. That would be you, right? You're a Wonder Woman, thus naming her.
Correct. And also going back, Steve Trevor was the first person to name the island Paradise. As well, so we have Paradise Island as well. So basically, but then it's time for Wonder Woman to Diana to go and fight the Tetracide again, and Barbara basically gives the old "I'm in the book." She's like, I don't know what that means, but find out.
Now, about that, I had to pause for the cause when Barbara used the term "I'm in the book." Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen a cell phone in this entire series so far. We're 3 issues in. Looking at their wardrobes, I can't necessarily place them. Looking at Steve Trevor's uniform, it looks kind of older. But then you look at some of the tactical gear on the soldiers. I don't know. Do you think this is possible that this isn't like modern time? Like, why would she say I'm in the book? No one's that she's referring to the phone book, right?
That's normally what the heck.
Barbara wouldn't even say that. You know what I mean? That's super outdated even for Barbara.
Right. It's a good point.
We're dealing with a different time here.
Yeah, different time, or maybe it's one of those like blended type things where creating their own thing where they still talk on handheld phones, but
they go watch the talkies.
Right, exactly.
It reminded me of Batman the Animated Series, how it's like an unspecified time that you can see elements of different time, and this is the absolute world. This is Darkseid's world. So who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I'm going to start looking for little clues in the other absolute stuff after hearing I'm in the book.
That's a very good question. So Diana develops a plan to at least save everyone from being drawn to the Tetracide. Her master plan is to basically make everyone deaf.
Yeah, so she goes to the radio station news cameraman guy with a potion, broadcast like, yo, guys, things are going to get bad. Everyone's going to freak out. But if you can hear this, be kind to your neighbor, take care of your neighbor, love your neighbor. I'm going to make you deaf. Just for a little while. So when this thing whistles, you don't die.
Right. She says, it's interesting because it will actually be all of you who will save each other because you'll be deaf. And that's when she uses her name. And again, this is part of who Wonder Woman is. She says Wonder Woman believes in you. Huge. That's just a huge thing for her to say, and basically, again, gets to the essence of who she is.
I know there's been a little bit of criticism on the art in this, it being a little different, it being this or that. But that shot, that close up of her face when she says that, you can see so much emotion in it. It's such simplistic art. But this artwork in here really, really works and plays to the strength of the story that they're telling.
Absolutely. And then that's pretty much, we're going into, part 4 of the battle against the Tetracide. And that's what we'll pick up next issue. But, I'm with you. Out of the 3, this has quickly become my favorite, at least story-wise so far. So cannot say enough good things about it. And I'm excited to see where it goes next.
Yeah. Superman next week.
Yes. Yep. And then before long, we'll have Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter and Flash. So,
coming fast.
I get it. Coming fast. The Flash. That's funny. But that's going to be it. What did you think? Did you read Wonder Woman, Absolute Wonder Woman number 3? What did you think of it? Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and leave us a comment. Let us know how you're liking the Absolute Universe. What of the 3 are your favorites if you have one? And let us know basically where you think this might be going. Who knows? But that's going to be it. As always, I am Paul. He
Is
is
Mark.
Mark.
And we're Legion.
Yeah, and now we're leaving Touch of 2815
We're
to
outta
figure out what it is we just
We
did.
were on a roll for so long.
We were. Oh well. All good things must come.